lectures. Screen flickers tales of crime and affection. Baristas mix caffeine with tales of deception. Lawyers joke and shadows plot their redemption. Case files like popcorn scatter on the floor. Jury's out in line, folks begging for more. Quirky loopholes twist through every door. Paparazzi flash for the courtroom encore. Legal shenanigans, theater, baby, where justice lasts. Crime and humor dance, baby, a curious path. Grab your ticket, honey, let the gavel smash. In the flood of laughter, see the road splash. Scoundrels with a smile, defense on their lips.
Hello, everyone. This is Sit the Hell Down, Sarah. The state strikes back. And I am here for the petty parade. I love this man. He was so snarky. Don't quite get the suit that looks like oatmeal and grayish.
Yeah.
Also, I told Vale in the background, I was like, remember those Geico commercials with, so easy a caveman can do it? Yeah, I'm a terrible person.
And it took me a while to remember. So like the judge is amazing, but I'm sorry, he looks like Count Count from Sesame Street. He looks just like him.
So I said he was the third brother, like if it was Snap, Crackle, Pop of Ted Cruz, DeSantis, and him. They were all long lost twins.
Yeah. This whole thing, I'm telling you.
I am so glad it's done. I'm not. Oh no, he is awesome. He was the best judge that we could have asked for, for this particular case. He was calm and measured and kept Owens sort of in check. I mean, as much as you can keep Owens and Sarah together. But it was, yeah, and I love that he brought the suitcase in. Not sure why he called it a box. You know what, Christine, why don't you talk to me on Discord and we can probably set something up. Yeah, I loved, this judge was so kind and he did get mad at someone, but it wasn't me. But he did use the voice and I was like, shit, I didn't even do it.
Yeah. And I did think, I have to say this has literally nothing to do with the actual trial itself, but I like the fact that the judge brought in the students. I know the first day that it happened, like everyone was distracted by like, who the hell are all these people? But I do like the fact that he actually is like bringing up young people who are learning to like, this is how you do this the right way.
Yeah, I really liked kind of the juxtaposition too. And I know Baker and I talked about it and kind of got, it's mom of six, word, not number. I love how my ADHD brain works, like word, not number. Because I'm a genius. But I do like that, they are learning. And it was interesting to juxtapose Owen's daughter, who seemed to always dress like she wanted to get the kind of attention from the media, which, again, this is why God keeps me semi-fluffy, because if I were given a body like that, it'd be Lycra all the way. Like I'd be in some scandalous ass crap, which is why God keeps me fluffy. That and carbohydrates.
Okay. So I must have missed this. Who is Owen's daughter?
Okay. They'll probably show her. She is the very, very blonde. It almost is a platinum blonde. Okay. But she's always wearing the shortiest of skirts. Like to the point when she's sitting
over.
Yeah, I mean, she has a lovely body, don't get me wrong, but I think you see things differently when you have teen girls or girls of your own and you're like, yeah, that's a no-go.
Yeah.
And you would think going into court, You wouldn't want to wear something, I don't know, bootylicious, but
Or
I'm
or you see somebody casually talking to Sarah Boone, that's an immediate sign, like signal to run.
yeah, like when you decide to represent Sarah Boone, I need an entire, psychological workup on you, sir.
Yeah, she's. Oh dear. Like
All right,
she's.
let's get.
There you go. Like she's
Oh,
quoting, just not quoting.
yeah. It was just a tiny, like an inch more with, either the cleavage or the skirt would have been fine.
It's what they're always. It's what. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say that. That's what she said. Just an inch more.
Alrighty, let's get going because this is the ultimate smackdown, and I am here for it because I think a lot of us were watching the case the first week or so and were like, why are they being so easy on Sarah? They were just waiting to take the gloves off. And this is the glove smack, from The Simpsons where Homer was going around challenging everyone to a duel. This is the gauntlet thrown, and Owens he about pooped a brick. And then he laid a doozy on his closing, which we might go over, but I need to be allowed to curse, and it might be a Rumble only channel.
Yes.
But let's get going. I love how he just tosses his gloves like, I'm ready to go.
He needs an iron for
This
that jacket, though.
is a box. This is the box where George Torres was killed.
Objection, that's a suitcase.
It's a small box, 28 by 20 by 8 7/8 inches.
My P.O. box should be on
George
the
Torres
on my About
was
Me.
zipped
Sorry.
up
I was like, what's the name of the thing
this
where I
box.
put all my information? Welcome, Disney Nerd.
George Torres took his last panicked breaths in this box. The medical examiner explained to us that with each breath, George Torres took in.
All I have in my head, this is why ADHD is completely terrible, because the song going on in my head is I'm gonna pop some tags going to Goodwill, because I swear to God his suit reminds me of him, like just stealing it from gonna wear your grandpa's suit.
I have a pocket watch that would be great with that suit.
Welcome, Flex Raiders. I know, I'm all in my head is like, I'm gonna pop some tags.
And it's terrible because what I playing through my head is every breath you take.
Oh my God, we are perfect for each other.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's about the same daggone thing as me. But I do like that he has the suitcase out. I think this is powerful because it really does show how small it is. Because Owens is going to say, that's a big suitcase. It's a real big suitcase.
Yeah.
And we're like, sir, that's a carry-on. I'm going to need you to pretend to know what flying is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not a very big suitcase.
No.
There was less oxygen in this box. George Torres was murdered in this box. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, my trial partner, we thank you for your time and attention in this most important.
Sam, this is where we kind of let off steam and have fun. We understand the seriousness of the trial. I was there. I watched the whole thing. I have been in a relationship with a person like Sarah before. This is kind of where we come to just, honor the seriousness, but also have fun.
Yeah.
So if this isn't your cup of tea, I'm very sorry.
Yep. And we've diverged a lot too.
Yeah.
Trials. We now have the law from the judge in this case. This is what our duty is to follow. And let's have a discussion regarding that law that we've just been read and given. The first section.
Oh,
You're going to come to.
for the love of all that is holy, what is going on?
I kept clicking it too.
Oh, okay. I was just checking because some people,
Yeah.
don't quite get what's going on, and I do want to kind of set the stage. But thank you.
Yes.
I have had so many new supporters, so thank you. I don't know all of your names. I'm trying to learn them,
Yeah.
but I do like his sort of off the cuff, and here is where he is going to do something that is vitally important. He is going to go over the law, which I think is great. He's going to explain how none of it applies, and I really like that he did that.
I thought you were going to say he was going to point out the court reporter's calves.
Well, I mean, he
Which was
probably
also
already
another
noticed
hot
them.
topic, apparently.
Did not. Well, she did wear like really clear shoes one day, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is she barefooted?
That's the day that it all came up. That everyone was talking about her calves and her feet.
This being a legal document written by a bunch of lawyers who you've seen for the last 2 weeks arguing with each other.
Ladies, he looks single,
Pay careful attention
and he wears a three-piece
to
suit.
ands and ors.
But you need to know how to.
Remember, if an and is somewhere, we're going to need both things or all the things, and if an or.
I love this. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up words, phrases, and clauses. That is what was going through my head when this guy...
I can see the little guy. And now all I'm thinking of is, this is the bill on Capitol Hill.
I love that my brain does that because I will have 90% on seriousness and like 10%, hey, do you remember Schoolhouse Rock's Conjunction Junction? Would you like to play that right now? No, not really. I'm trying to be serious. Okay, well, here it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want that.
I think I might have copies of Schoolhouse Rock. I think I do.
But I do like how he's breaking down the legalese and an or. That's really important because even when I got jury instructions, they are kind of written in legalese. So him breaking this down is awesome. And we'll let him get back to it without, conjunction, junction.
Is there, then only one of those things we're going to need. So as we start out here on Introduction to Homicide, we come to the first.
No, that is going to get washed in holy water.
And it reads, killing of a human being is justifiable homicide and lawful, if necessarily done while resisting an attempt to murder or commit a felony upon the defendant, or to commit a felony in any dwelling house in which the defendant was at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, this section is completely inapplicable. It's inapplicable because George Torres was zipped up in that suitcase. He couldn't commit or attempt to commit a murder on anybody. He couldn't even scratch his own head while he was in that suitcase.
Which one?
Next, we turn to excusable homicide. Here we have several paragraphs. And it reads, the killing of a human being is excusable and therefore lawful under any one of the following three circumstances. When the killing is committed by accident and in misfortune.
Sarah's like, unintentional and accident. I apply. There's like, raise hand.
Yeah. I was going to say, does anywhere in here, does it say unintentional?
Does it say unintentional accident? Sarah's like, I was killed by grammar. No one put unintentional in there.
Yes. Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, she is her own special disaster.
No, nobody's going to be able to say unintentional without thinking of Sarah ever again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doing any lawful act by lawful means, usual, ordinary caution, and without any unlawful intent.
Mo, I
Well-
just had a great idea.
You're a little low. Let me.
Oh. I just had a great idea.
Okay.
So, you need to get some merch, okay?
Yes.
You need to get some little pink shorts in your store that says unintentional across the ass.
First of all, no one wants to see that on me. Second of all, I would have to reach out to George's family because I would feel really weird, profiting on Sarah-ness. And apparently she intends to profit on it herself. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll wait for her book, My Struggle, to come out.
I know how to say that in other languages.
Well, that's what I hope it does. Like, I hope she goes My Struggle or Not Without My Suitcase. Please, God, I need this in my life.
Yeah. Uh,
The problem in this circumstance with the defendant is that she took the law into her own hands. Her testimony was that when George Torres was in here, he was laughing and giggling and they were joking. And
None of
then
which was caught on
he
camera.
started to complain that he couldn't breathe. And that's when she said that she wanted him to stay in there so he could feel uncomfortable. So he could feel her grievances. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not lawful. That is not the
I wish
use
I had
of
skills.
ordinary
I have so many
caution,
memes I want to make.
and that
No,
is not applicable in this circumstance.
I love how he's just like, and that's an A for effort and a D for denied. And an F for FU.
yeah. Yes. To whoever said the thing about her walking down the catwalk.
Oh, yes.
It's like,
She
that's
thought
that's
she
hot.
thought legitimately she was going home. She's like, I am done. Like, y'all are gonna see this and
Yeah.
let me
She-
go.
She was going to go home with her girlfriend who's been released from prison. And it was going to
Yeah,
be
that is
Oh, you can eat taco night, Jesus.
Oh. Well, that'll keep me skinny for a couple of years. Whenever I want to eat a treat, I'll just picture that. I'm like, I'm going to be skinny mini soon.
I'm here to help.
Thank you,
I won't
Vale.
ruin ice cream, though.
Please don't.
I won't.
I need something to stay alive for. Those Christmas tree little Debbie things don't come out until like next month.
Second, when the killing occurs by accident or misfortune in the heat of passion upon any sudden and sufficient provocation. George Torres couldn't provoke anything from his circumstance. George Torres was confined to this box.
So over on Baker's, we were doing bingo, and in nowhere on any card did box occur. Everyone had suitcase, and they were like, mother effer, if you don't say suitcase.
They were watching the stream. He changed it last minute.
Yeah, I was like, he's playing along too. He's like, nah, y'all, I'm gonna win that. I'm gonna win that candy bag from that, Danish guy.
I'm gonna make sure no one wins.
Yeah, he was like, all the candy is mine. Y'all make fun of my suit. I'm taking it.
Yeah. Now I have to point out, because you paused it at a really awkward moment, and for whatever reason, his suit looks weird. Dude needs a new wallet.
Okay, well, so the suit jacket has like this flare leg thing going on, and then the pants are all too big, so it looks like he both has birthing hips but no ass.
Yeah.
It gives him a very almost hourglass figure, which is weird on a dude.
Yeah, he does have an odd build, or maybe it's just the suit making him look oddly
I think
shaped.
it's the suit. I think he would look lovely in a tailor suit, but this is not. It's so beige too. God, how do you wear so much beige? That would bother the hell out of me. Explains why I've never been in an office. They'd be like, what do you mean my shirt that says don't be a, twatopotamus is not appropriate? I was just giving people a warning on how they're supposed to act.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Like, I'm in customer service. I just figured everyone should get a warning. Like,
Yeah.
don't.
Yes, and this I agree. It needs to be blue, black, or gray. Not jiving.
Oh, I'm sure he's really hot in real life. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever go fangirl. Like, can I stand next to you and take a selfie? I'm kind of a wine mom, true crimer, and I'd love to I loved your snark. Thanks. He'll be like, I don't know where the deputies and or bailiffs are, but I do have bear mace. Like, man, it'd be like when you guys remember the body cam video where Sarah went in for a hug and the officer was like, this is my no-no square. How about I give you a fist bump?
Yeah. And then she comes back again. Oh God.
Ew, that woman. She's like, oh, let me flirt with you, babe. And he's like, ew.
And as somebody who does a lot of typing for a living, that woman's posture, the court reporter, I'm a little jelly of that, if I'm being honest.
I know. And she's got such long legs, and I'm so jealous. It's like that line from Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, you with your hair, you with your long legs, walking around playing with your hair, walking on your legs.
Next, when the killing is committed by accident and misfortune resulting from a sudden combat, a dangerous weapon is not used, the killing is not done in a cruel and unusual manner. Well, this fails on 2 counts. There was no sudden combat. In her words, this was laughing and joking and we're all having fun, when she decides that it's going to get a little extra real for George Torres. And it fails on the second count because George Torres was killed in a cruel and unusual manner. Next, we turn to
Yeah,
our
I
main
think that would be
charge.
really weird. But you do have access to handcuffs, and every woman over the age of 65 apparently has read 50 Shades of Grey, which is a terrible, terrible book. Just literally, like, just awful. There is better smut out there, please. Also, can any woman explain to me why you would go to a theater to watch semi-prawn with a bunch of other women in, like, cat sweaters is all I'm imagining? Like, there's just a bunch of uncomfortable breathing and grossness. I don't... Someone makes that make sense to me.
I've heard about blue balls for women.
Yeah, but it'll come out on DVD or Blu-ray or digital, and you don't have to go to, like, a theater with a bunch of other women who have read... just no.
But as
I can just imagine a lot of heavy breathing, and I'm out. Just
but as I understand it, Mo, women go everywhere together.
ew, no. My mom was like, "Have you read that book?" And I was like, "No, Mom, I read way smuttier stuff."
I read Bigfoot smut, Mom. I have standards.
And I send them to my husband when I find a really weird one. Like, hey, hun, there's this one about two guys and the guy gets pregnant, which is weird when you're trying to read it on a Stairmaster and you're like, okay, where's the chick going to come in? Because I know they said they had a baby. And then it was like, oh, he gets pregnant. I'm slightly confused. And by slightly, I mean a lot of bit confused. They really need to warn you if you're going into a book and it's just maybe, like there's not going to be a chick in it. Because I'm like halfway through this book and I'm like, where the hell is the chick? I thought they were going to be. Which, read what you want to read. I don't like my Kindle needs all the Jesus and holy water. So
all the self-help.
So, I don't know, but I was like, then I had to send it to my husband. Like, oh my God, there's not a chick in here, but he gets pregnant and has morning sickness. This is the greatest book ever. And he's like, what about the scenes? I was like, they're pretty hot, actually. I mean, kind of like squint. I mean, it's like, what is wrong with you? I think our entire marriage is like, what is wrong with you?
I mean, I would have a lot of questions if it was me.
Yeah, he always does. He's stopped asking questions sometimes.
Just nods and goes, yes, honey.
You have to watch this morning. I dressed up as Glenn, the guy at the end of Baker's outro that, talks about his mother-in-law sleeping around.
Yeah. Who hasn't slept with her?
Yeah, so I dressed up like him, and Mr. Mo was like, I want to ask some questions, but I'm just not.
Yeah, I'm too afraid to ask.
He no longer asks. He just turns around and walks out. Yeah, funny. I'm like, you have me. It's too late to leave now.
You're stuck, buddy.
Sorry, I didn't tell you I was a semi-theater kid.
Second degree. The law informs us that to prove the crime of second-degree murder, the state must prove the following three elements beyond a reasonable doubt. I think it's important to stop right here. This sentence right here is telling us what has to be proven in order for the crime of second-degree murder to be for the defendant to be found guilty in this case. We've been hearing all kinds of facts for almost 2 weeks now of trial. But these are the 3 facts that had to have been met by the reasonable doubt.
I do love that he is bringing back George. This case is George's case. Sarah can, come up here, do the victim dance, wear the mask, say the words that she learned in Terrifying Love because apparently that expert believed her. She can say all the words, but we are here because George Torres is no longer alive. And I'm glad he brought it back to that because this has been a Sarah Boone shit show.
Yeah. I mean, she is a disaster of a human being, but really it is about him. It's not about her.
Yeah. And I like that he brought that back. I like that he brought the suitcase and you can see the real horror.
Yeah. The fact that he
I think
left
she'll
it there
cry
too.
at sentencing, or Owens will try to get the whole trial, thrown out because, his mother, Mama Torres, started crying because he's an ass.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was happy with everything. The judge asked her multiple times that she was happy
She
with
is
her
now.
representation.
I cannot wait for the next letter. You have
Oh,
no
you know
idea.
what's
It's going to be
coming.
173 pages.
Yeah. And they're going to be like, we don't actually have to take your letters anymore because you're convicted.
Send them to me, Sarah. I will read them and get your story out. Now,
Yeah.
will I roast the hell out of you while doing it? Yes. But at
Yeah.
least I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, just to be honest, Sarah, the judge probably did too. He just couldn't do it publicly. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Standard in order to be found guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that the state has proven second-degree murder beyond all doubt. And the proof of that guilt is overwhelming. But I will cite for each element one fact that conclusively proves each of those elements beyond all doubt. As to the first fact, that George Torres is dead, well, we have stipulation, amongst other things, that agrees to that. As to the second fact, the death was caused by Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone, in her own words, from the time that this case began on February 23rd, 2020, to when she took the witness stand a few days ago, was consistent about one statement. She zipped him up. She didn't zip him out.
Okay, we need to talk about zip out gate because no one in the history of humanity has ever said zip out.
I'm thinking
Unzipped?
I think I'm gonna try that on my girlfriend.
Put her in a suitcase or zip?
Zip out. It's like, hey, you're getting a little too handsy there. You need to zip out.
Godspeed and good luck. I would not try that, but
I'll
your
let you know
bravery.
how it goes.
Well, it's kind of like Steve Irwin. I mean, I'm always like, to be fair, I never thought he'd get taken out by a stingray. I always thought it would be one of the crocodiles that he's like, oh, she's such a sweet, docile girl. And it's like, no, that's a freaking ancient dinosaur weird thing that we probably shouldn't, mess with. And he's all like, oh, she's just, she's a little frisky today.
Yeah, I think the literally my first exposure to Steve Irwin, he's in Appalachia, and he's rolling around the foothills or whatever, and he's looking for rattlesnakes, and he crouches down, and he crouches right over a rattlesnake nest, and they're like looking at his googlies, and he gets a little bit nervous. Like, yeah, okay.
It was just maybe not, but I do like that Well, actually, I have better handwriting than someone because he has doctor handwriting. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
She zipped him up in the suitcase.
Finally,
She
suitcase. It
refused to
doesn't say
zip
box.
him out. 3, there was an unlawful killing of George Torres by an act imminently dangerous to another in demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. The law goes on to define for us what a depraved mind is, and also what an act is. And it's going to tell us that an act includes any series of related actions arising from and performed pursuant to a single design or purpose.
You gotta love lawyers. Take a small word like act, and we're gonna add 3 sentences as to what it means.
Yes. And a bunch of references that are a bunch of letters and numbers with dots and parentheses around them.
Yeah, for serious. It's like, and in subsection D, an act is something that you did.
Yeah.
You're like, thanks.
Just like, thanks for simplifying that, bud. Appreciate
We
it.
have a bullet point of things that you need to understand an act is.
Yeah. The only problem, it's a 100-round magazine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Purpose. An act is imminently dangerous to another in demonstrating a depraved mind if it is an act or a series of acts that 1, a person of ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or do serious bodily harm to another, and is done from ill will, hatred, spite, or an evil intent.
And Sarah's
And
like, that doesn't describe
is
me.
of such a nature
Yeah.
that the act itself displays an indifference to human life. Ladies,
You guys are assuming that I went upstairs and just left him. But you did. But you're assuming, like, you're taking all the evidence and the video that I took, and you're trying to railroad me. Like, you're trying to feed me information about what I did.
Yeah, that's not quite how it works. I mean, it's there were so many things that actually came out during this whole trial that I was like, wait, I didn't know that, and that doesn't make sense to me.
It really is. The fact that she took those videos thinking that they showed her in a good light, so shows just how off her internal lens are. No, I wiped all the Glenn makeup. But I still have Glenn in my heart. Because, I mean, who wouldn't want to play? That was the funnest thing. I mean, who wouldn't want to play a dude that's just like, screw it, give me a Pabst, I'll talk about everybody.
The old PBR defense.
He walked in his little polo and was like, his skullet and his, sleeve of tattoos. And he's like, he was chicken shit. What can I say? I mean, I call a spade a spade. And they're like, what if he slept with your wife? Well, probably, I don't know.
Probably did.
And then they're like, what about the mother-in-law? And he's like, look, everyone has. She's got her number on all the stalls down in Poughkeepsie. I mean, what are you going to do?
That reminds me, though, you saying somebody drinking on the stand. So I told Mo before we got started that I somehow have gotten sucked down the YSL rabbit hole, right? So I've been listening to way too much of this. And I don't remember what day it is, but there's this witness on the stand. And he's like, yo, I'm so high right now. He's like, I don't even know what y'all talking about. He's like, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Well, he's honest.
I was like, okay.
He's like, I'm under oath. I'm going to be as honest as I can. I am high as balls right now. Y'all look like gummy bears, but as I am high, I am more likely to tell you the truth, but probably too much truth. I should probably plead the fifth.
Yeah, well, and then somebody said it was Woody. It wasn't one. It wasn't Woody. It was somebody else. But oh my god, it's so hilarious. But that it just reminded me of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, her conduct fits every one of those things. And if there was a scintilla of doubt that this was not the actions of a depraved mind, I point to you, ING 1062, and states 17. Mr. J, may you publish states 17?
I love that it has instructions on it. I still wouldn't be able to work the audio visual.
Ooh,
Scintilla is the other word.
I've heard it so much this week. Got to get some mood lighting, some bones falling.
Now this part is heartbreaking. So
Yeah.
I am going to pause. You guys, I know this video is hard. I know the reaction from his mother is even harder. And this is, kind of you guys can, kind of relax here. I think it is about 2 minutes. So if you want to go watch a puppy video, do things like that, totally understandable. You guys know your mental health. You guys know how you can handle this. So I don't want anyone to have, any sort of difficulty. It's not graphic, but you do hear basically George's last words.
Yeah.
So, keep your mental health in mind. It's going to be about 2 minutes. You can go watch Puppies and Kittens, but we are going to start. So I did want to give you guys a warning on that because it's doubly hard because of the mother's reaction. And notice that the suitcase is upside down. So even if he could get out, he's still discombobulated.
For everything you've done to me. Sarah. For everything you've done to me. Sarah. Fuck you. Sarah. Fuck you. Sarah. Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
That is totally okay.
Sarah. I can't fucking breathe, babe. Sarah. Yeah, that's when you do. You shake me. Sarah.
So I do believe this is maybe where the mother had her little kind of, again, she wasn't loud. She didn't start saying, "Oh my baby, oh my baby." But she did kind of excuse herself. Now I think this was wrong. I don't think they should have shown the family leaving.
Yeah.
I think, again, this grief, this heartbreak is almost physical. You can see it. She can't even stand up straight. And
Upset
for them
members there
to
of George Torres's family walking out after the prosecution shows that suitcase video that
Was that the whole thing? The whole video?
no, they go back to it.
I was going to say that I don't think that was 2 minutes.
Sarah, I can't breathe. That's on you. Sarah, I can't breathe. It's on you. Sarah.
Yeah, you could feel the heartbreak.
Real ransom. Now you want to give it for it extra.
What the hell was that? Can we get like CSI forensics and the guy that does ancient alien stuff and figure out what Klingon/drunk on she was saying? Because I get handsome might want to get for that extra.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Just, oh my gosh. And those were mega bottles. They had 2 of them, and they're like 19 pounds each.
Regular. Sarah, I can't believe it. Oh. That's what I feel like when you drink on me. Sarah. Fuck you. Please, Sarah. Yeah. You should probably shut the fuck up. Shh.
Ladies and gentlemen, that
Ooh, we
exhibit
got the knife hands.
removes any scintilla of doubt about the depravity of the defendant's actions.
You point her down.
But we know
But, sir, remember, when you point at her, there are 4 other fingers pointing back at you. That is going to be in the fucking letter. You know it is. He pointed at me. And you know what happens when you point at me? You've got other fingers pointing back at you. I mean,
That sounds like something she would literally say.
it is from her letter, so I have no doubt it will be in her manifesto.
Oy vey.
Pretty much.
know from the evidence that this was not the first time she had considered killing George Torres.
And
We
Sarah's like,
know
damn, you can't use my words
from the
against me.
evidence that on January 13th, 2020, approximately 1 month prior to George Torres's murder, the defendant had a text message conversation. Please do something with yourself, Sarah. God bless you. And bless you.
So they did warn the family. The state was very clear about that. They warned the family. But you can think you're strong enough and you can do all that, but there's a finality to this. They know that, it's the defense did their best, and they know that she might get away with this. This might be the end to their justice. They don't know, what the jury's thinking.
Yeah.
And also, maybe they haven't seen this video as much. And, his mom had never seen the video. Oh, my God. That poor woman. And for Owens to get up and act like a total dickbag about it, I mean, how much lower in the humanity, evolution do you want to go? Because right now, even those little dung beetles are better than you.
Yeah, I can, from what I understand, what's going to happen is I understand his point, but it's also not.
There are choose your battle moments.
Yeah, exactly.
When you are defending Sarah fucking Boone, who is the biggest twat waffle in the entire world. Look, this is going to be off the chain. I am done being nice. I'm going to use all the words. We're 40 minutes in. I am in full fuck deficit about this woman.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. You have to pick your battles. It's not exactly good timing. And if you were going to even say anything, like, get the jury out, like, do it in a way that you're not going to continue to disrupt things. I don't know if that's what actually happens or not, but it's like,
it was outside of the jury, but he was pointing and shouting at the family.
oh,
It was
okay,
just,
that's just being a dick then. Okay, got it.
well, yeah. Okay, Dingus, hop on, just not the microphone. Come on, guy. Yes, I know. You're going to hear purring in the background because Dingus feels like this is his podcast too, or YouTube-y thing.
Dingus is
And all of you too. I'll get rid of him. Then I'll be better. Torres. But ladies and gentlemen,
She also said stay Hispanic,
In
which
this
I didn't know
case,
it was an option.
the law
change?
actually specifically tells us that the intent
I missed
to
that
cause
part.
death is not necessary. In order to convict of second-degree murder, it is not necessary for the state to prove the defendant had an intent to cause death.
Once they're released, I will. I have no idea where Thor is. No, I'm not putting any animal. Y'all, okay, so you guys know I would have to leave between 2 and 3 to pick up my kids, so I'm listening to the trial in my car. And my youngest, most feral, was like, "Is this are you still doing the woman who's really bad at hide and seek? She's really dumb. How can you be old like you and not know hide and seek?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." And he's like, "And you've been doing this for 2 weeks? Old people are weird. This is so boring. Why aren't you playing Roblox?" He's like, "Old people are weird, and I don't know why you even watch this." And I was like, "Well, some people." And old like me, Sarah has 7 years on me. I was like, "Old like me, you're out the will."
That's funny.
It'll be the end of Mommy Dearest. They know why. They know why. They're not kidding. Yeah. Well, he watches Skibbity Toilet, and I have questions, so,
Yeah, you explained the skivvy toilet thing to me at one point in time. I still don't understand.
I don't either. I really, really don't. Mostly because it's a human head in a toilet that goes, "Arr, arr, arr." I don't get it. And there's a gajillion and 12 episodes. I don't think they ate regularly. I don't know. I don't like getting drunk. So I'm not Sarah Boone. I just don't like getting drunk. Unless I'm at home. So I don't know if they were just drinking so much they didn't eat, because she was incredibly thin too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just spend all their money on booze and would occasionally eat. I don't see Sarah putting on like a pot roast, or although she claimed to make a steak dinner, I'm guessing that was a insanity.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here that they probably spent most of their disposable income I'm gonna include food in that for them. That was for alcohol. And I guess technically they're grapes, so maybe that's just what they decided to go with.
This is unconsensual cuddling. I need to be able to use the mouse. Do not bite my hand when I have to move my hand. He's like, "The hell are you doing, woman? I need cuddles."
Like, excuse me, that's my mouse.
He's just like, "Why are you not focusing on me, Mom?"
I'm going to bypass the lesser included offenses because though she is guilty of those offenses as well, the law instructs us that she is to be convicted of for the highest offense in which the evidence supports, which is second-degree murder in this case. So turning our attention towards voluntary intoxication. If there was any question about the fact that
Angus, you're too big for the boob
Sarah
job. This is not going to work.
imbibed alcohol on the night that George Torres was murdered,
She
And
thought it was
then
real.
maybe somehow that would,
Poor Dingus, his life is changing. He's now the size of just a regular cat. He's supposed to get huge because he's a Maine Coon. As a little kitten, and I have slightly deflated, so he used to like to sit right on top. I call it the boob shelf
Yep.
because I'm me. But he is struggling with the fact that he can't he can no longer fit up there. He keeps trying to climb up there and like fall down. It's like, damn.
And the shelf is no longer for you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very upset.
I mean,
So I'm over here trying to juggle the stream and trying to make sure my cat doesn't fall off my boobs, which is,
I mean,
so apropos for a Mo stream.
yeah. And I can relate. I would be upset too.
No, like if you're wearing a bra, there's, generally like you have a boobular shelf area. And, I can hide a whole thing of Mad Dog 2020 in there, so it's substantial. Mr. Mo's gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Why are you saying that? Who knows? You know that filter thing that people have? Yeah, no, not me.
Yeah. It's long gone. If it ever existed.
excuse the conduct. There'd be some type of defense for the conduct. Well, this tells us that that's not the case. Voluntary intoxication resulting from the use of alcohol is not a defense to a crime. Evidence of a defendant's voluntary intoxication may not be taken
Sarah's
into
like, damn, that was
consideration
my
to
only
show that
defense.
she lacked
I blamed it on the
specific
Woodbridge.
intent to commit any crime. A person is voluntarily intoxicated if he or she knowingly consumed a substance that he or she knew or should have known could cause intoxication. Voluntary intoxication is not a defense to second-degree murder, manslaughter, or culpable negligence. Ladies and gentlemen, there's ample evidence of the defendant's intoxication from watching her on
That is the
public
understatement of the
surveillance.
century.
I mean, he should say there is no evidence that she was ever sober.
That would be more an accurate statement, I think. Because all those videos that they showed of like the police videos and all that stuff and her recordings and all that, I did not see a single one where she was
I had
sober.
never seen the body cam where she came out and did a flippin' Mary Catherine from SNL when the cops got there. I had never seen that. I was like, I could not process what I was seeing. She had a cigarette in one hand and she was doing the Mary Catherine, like split squat, arms up. And I was like, am I watching a Kamala Harris like gag somewhere? Because I can't deal with another one of these.
There was something, and this is where the pink short idea came from. Every single one of those videos, she had those pink shorts on. Every single one.
Doggone one.
Yes.
And it was, I was like, are those your get George arrested pants? Like, I mean, I have, certain outfits, like if Mr. Mo and I are going out on a date night and I, want to look a little smexy before we go to the Mexican restaurant and I inevitably spill salsa on my boob shelf, I'll pick that Lord, outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Those must have been just her cop pants. She just loved them.
You have evolved to a certain state in life when you have cop pants.
Well, probably.
It's maybe at that juncture you maybe should start rethinking your life decisions.
Probably. Well, Sarah is smarter than the rest of us, so she's Menza'd her way out of even
that's true.
obligation.
That's true. I forgot about that. That she is a genius. I forgot.
Yes. I love how the students are like, okay, I'm liking this. I need to
Mhm.
pay attention. It's like 5 o'clock and I have some naptosis. So can we? Because they know Owens is going to take forever, like
I
from the
kn-
Sandlot.
I started, so I thought, so I missed quite a bit of yesterday's activities minus the basically where they sentence or where they read the verdict. But like I thought that when they left the day before that like they were going to come in, they were going to have a discussion over the whatchamabobbers
The jury, the
jury
jury
instructions.
instruction.
And they were going to pound this baby out. The jury was going to have this by like lunchtime.
Oh, I know,
And
but it's Owens.
yeah, and then I get to downloading it to fix the audio and stuff for it. And I'm like, this is 12 hours long.
Yeah, and it felt all. I swear we got very close. This is my theory. When Owens was talking, we got so close to the center of a black hole that we were near a singularity because time stopped. It, I was like, are we in? Are we? You know.
I guess I did say that, huh?
You know, it's always we always remember phrasing and after we say something, never before. Although I
Yeah.
did learn today on Baker's channel that there is a juncular area deodorant called Mando.
Yeah. I mean,
Apparently, you can smell like aged bourbon and leather or something else.
are you
I was
trying
like-
to attract dudes? I mean,
Well, I was
I'm
like,
just
here, you know, it smells like bourbon and assless chaps romance and a little bit of dingleberry. I'm like, look, it's just, what are we doing here?
I mean, you know, you could just wash them.
Well, but Mando also sounds a whole lot like Marital Aid that a certain YouTuber
Yes.
used to hawk. And so I can never look at it without I'm going to go in Walmart and start giggling my boobs off. Like, this chick is weird. And be like, no, you don't understand. There's this thing on YouTube and it's really funny and it kind of has the same name and
Yeah, it's like yeah. Just wash your junk, whether you're male or female. Just wash your junk.
yeah, you know, maybe powder a little bit. I don't know. You take care of your own jungular area. I will take care of mine.
Yeah.
That's buying the bottles of wine with George Torres, to her admissions to drinking,
Yes, and I learned a
to her
groinologist.
voice that we heard on the video while she was torturing George Torres.
That job sounds like a drag.
Next, we come to defenses.
Now this is where the petty starts, and I love it.
First, we come to the justifiable use of deadly force. It tells us it is a defense to the crimes of second-degree murder, manslaughter, and culpable negligence if the actions of Sarah Boone were justifiable use or threatened use of deadly force. Sarah Boone
What?
does not have the burden of proving she was justified in using deadly force.
I'm sorry. I
Instead,
have to say
for you
something
to
about
find
this.
Sarah Boone guilty, the state must prove
This
Okay,
has nothing to
again.
do with anything. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, again, Sarah Boone, how do you self-defend from someone in a suitcase? Now, the defense's case has been that sometime in the 9 minutes between the long video and then the short video, George got all pissed off and he was like, "I'm gonna effing end you." Got some bass in his voice, his berries just descended, and he was like that, and he got his hand out, and that was the point at which Sarah knew she was in trouble.
Yeah, which
Now,
X'd it out.
yeah, so that's when she had to poke him and possibly beat him with a baseball bat, but of course that was
yeah.
self-defense, because
Yeah.
as anyone presented with a man in a suitcase trying to get out would realize that that's deadly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Even Steve Irwin wouldn't go in. Even Tiger King's like, damn Carol Baskin and this chick.
It's like, crikey.
Yeah.
I did see a couple things here in chat, though, that I point
Okay.
out that are wildly unrelated to this, but hey, that's what we do here. Yeah, so steel wheel and kerosene to keep Big Jim and the twins smelling nice, huh? I think that would result in a Slim Jim. Just saying. And this one,
Yeah.
I think that would be called, I think the name for said deodorant from that's Florida smelling would be swamp ass, I think.
It'd be named Freedom America.
Yeah.
I do like that he's breaking down the law, but I wish we would get to the petty part sooner, because I'm anxious for the petty. But he does have to go over this. I know it's a jury thing. He can't, just be all petty like I would. And
Yeah.
basically, my closing statement would be, you've seen Sarah. You've seen Sarah on videos. She's kind of a twat, isn't she?
Yeah.
You've seen how she treated George. I mean, you guys have good head on your shoulder. No one in their right mind is going to say that a hand coming out of a suitcase is deadly. And then if they're so afraid of death, they're not going to then go to sleep full Boudica mode, like, my fate is my fate. I will live or die by the suitcase. No.
Yeah. That part makes no sense. Like, a lot of this makes no sense. But that whole thing is like, I'm so in fear for my life that I was afraid that he was going to get out because apparently he was threatening me with his finger.
She is taken. So, I mean, I don't know how, but she's never really been monogamish,
True. So she might have
And
something.
Wendy Joe, this is Vielhammer. He is the gentleman that brings us all of the fixed audio. So he has actually been fixing the audio on this case and putting it up on his channel. If any one of the mods could put up Vielhammer's channel, he is amazing with audio. I'll let you speak, though, because, they asked about you.
Yeah, I'd fix audio things and make them clear for people who like trial-y things. I have a bunch of stuff ranging from Jody Arias to the entire O.J. Simpson trial to some other notorious serial peoples, and of course, what's her face? Boone's Farm here.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, who doesn't like a good Boone's Farm?
Yeah. I mean, we know Sarah does. Just saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, or handles of vodka, which I didn't even know was a term, but now I am fully engaged in Boone's or Booze Hound like education. Apparently, if you mix, spirits with Dr. Pepper, you can't smell as much of the spirits. I am like, wow, I just thought you drank mouthwash, but I am learning all the new things.
If you put bourbon in Dr. Pepper, yeah, that's a quick way to go from 0 to 100.
That's a quick way for me to get a 7th child. I don't need to try that.
Unintentionally.
Unintentional. It was unintentional. Mr. Mo breaks out in hives again. He did. When we found out that we were pregnant with the sixth, because he was 2 days away from the vasectomy consult.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand the hives.
Yeah. It's like yeah, that would have been an interesting conversation. I'm like, honey, it's a good thing you're gonna go get fixed because we got another one.
No, it was bad. So I was trying. We are way off, of course, as per usual. But I took a test because I was like, no way in hell, no way in hell, and sent a picture to my friend because I was like, do you see something there? Because I'm seeing something, but maybe I'm hysterical. I am a female and I don't want to see a line. So, and my husband, because our phones are connected, kind of like Brian Boone and Sarah, he's like, why the hell is there a pregnancy test photo on your phone? And I'm like, well, I don't want to alarm you, but I think we might be pregnant. So he used to work at the med thing at the military. So it's like, I'll bring home a test. So I get up in the morning and we take the test, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be seeing? And he's like, I don't know how these tests work. And I'm like, MFer, you brought this home to me.
Did it like, because it was military, did it start like growing like radioactive green?
No, it was a plus sign instead of 2 lines. And he's like, okay, well, maybe you need to go to the doctor and not tell anyone. So I thought we were on the full not telling anyone. He gets on the phone with his mom, or his stepmom, who's a nurse. And he's like, so is there any chance that a pregnancy test could come back positive and you're not pregnant? I'm like, there goes not telling anyone. No, I am not pregnant again. We both got spayed and neutered. It would be we followed the Bob Barker plan after 6. But I wouldn't be surprised if God shocked me because, I'm so happy. I love my children, but they're all in school now, so I get like 6.5 hours that I can do stuff for me. So knowing my luck, probably there's one in the wings I don't know about. I'm over here being all like sassy and fancy free. And God's like, just you wait. I got you.
I'm gonna teach you about that. Oh God, what was it that we talked about last week? The door blood. Gonna teach you about door blood.
Oh my God. I love their school. Their school is so great, but little kids don't understand concepts like Passover. They don't. What they hear and what they understand is completely different because youngest, most feral son, apropos of nothing, is in the car and he's like, do we have door blood? And I'm like, what are you talking? I was like, we have a doorbell. And
Yeah.
he said, no, we learned about this. The evil killer angel is going to come and we need to get door blood. And he says it in the tone like, ma'am, we have Crisco at home. Where is the door blood? And I said, no, honey, he's like, oh, I guess you just want the firstborn to die in our family. And I was like, no, it's an old story. It's Old Testament God. Well, you know what? I guess we're just going to have to wing it. Okay. I guess we'll just have to see if we get trust, we get away from the angel of death.
I would have been like, look, Mom, we need to get some door blood because I got some classmates. Let me tell you.
Well, then he's like, can I pray to the angel of death on people I don't like? I was like, no, you can't. No, that's what you got out of this story was door blood and possibly, summoning the angel of death. Wonderful. Great.
Just picking up the high points.
It's better than what he thought about Martin Luther King. I have to do that on Rumble. It's not anything bad. It's just that kids don't understand concept. Actually, it's not too... Okay, so he assumed that people didn't like Martin Luther King because he wore black clothing.
Oh.
And he
Okay.
said, like, we need to get all food that is black. And I was like, what now? He's like, licorice and chocolate cake because we have to celebrate. It just completely flew over his head. And I was like, please never say any of this in public.
That's 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 adorable.
It's adorable, but trying to explain to your son that no, it wasn't because he wore white clothes or black clothes and people thought he should wear different colors. That no, and no, I'm not going to buy you a chocolate cake.
Yeah. It's like,
But it was so sweet because he didn't even notice, the difference in skin color or anything. He thought it was the clothes.
yeah.
And it was nice, but it was also like, you can never say any of this in public, son.
Yeah. Like, we're gonna keep you sheltered, boy.
But it's these big concepts that the schools want to get them, and you should just tell kids, like, just judge people on how they act, because that's what he took from it.
Yeah.
Let me shut my door. The wild feral children are back from the Transformer movie, so
Okay.
we don't have an inside voice to save our lives in this house.
Got it.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, Sarah Boone was not justified in using deadly force. The law on the justifiable use of deadly force is as follows. Sarah Boone was justified in using deadly force if she reasonably believed that such force or threat of force was necessary to prevent the imminent death or great bodily harm to herself. Sarah Boone had no duty to retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments, Mr. Owens will rise, and he is going to show you this.
I love this.
And this.
Can I tell you, my inner petty heart, my inner, empress of the pettyverse, Sailor Petty Moon, was just loving how he's picking up these like $400 worth of Kinko crap pictures of Sarah. Can you imagine the poor little retail Kinko guy that's like, I'm going to need you to blow up this picture. And he's like, ugh, but your girlfriend, woof.
It's like, why?
And the prosecutor over here is like, he's going to show you this. I'm going to throw his posters everywhere. I was just like, let the petty begin. And the smackdown has entered the chat. I was like, my inner golem was like, yes, my precious.
Yes.
My petty. And he's totally taking the wind out of his sail.
And this.
Yeah, she's such a dingus. I need to get a new
And he's
dingleberry.
going to talk.
You bet he
And
was.
this as well.
Owen's plan was to, again, show Sarah in the best light and make her a victim. What the state is doing right here is so strategically brilliant. He's like, yeah, you have all these pictures, but none of this matters at the night.
Yeah.
None of this was in play. And regardless of who George Torres was, he didn't deserve to die in a suitcase.
Correct. Yeah, because that's the whole thing to the self-defense point, is that it has to be in that moment. Like, it's not before, it's not after, it's in that specific moment.
I know. He probably paid $400 at Kinko's or Staples.
You mean the people of Florida paid $400 for it?
Yeah, or Sarah's, futuristic, moralistic book deal.
Yeah. But she doesn't want anybody talking about her.
Yeah. again, it is, I just really liked his idea of taking these pictures, taking the wind out of his sail. You know, again, he's showing the jury none of this can be bootstrapped. None of this can be linked to that night. We are here about that night, not the nights before, not the nights months before, but tonight or that night.
Yeah.
I hope they destroy the suitcase.
And there we go. We have a Florida resident who thought it was $400 well spent.
They're auctioning off the Sarah close-up. Some weird website. Some corner of Reddit is super excited.
Yeah. There was somebody waiting outside of the courthouse, like they're going to pick them up and they're going to sell them on eBay.
Oh my God. Oh, don't buy anything from eBay from this woman.
Yeah.
About the
And he's
list
just
of
pitching them
grievances
around.
that Sarah Boone had for George Torres. He's going
I am
to talk
not
to you
sure.
about curtain rods.
It's the new prison
Shouldn't
dating
laugh that hard
website.
at that.
He's going to talk to you about black eyes.
I have a problem with that picture.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not a medicalologist or no one should ever listen to me for medical advice. Let's just throw that out there. But if you have a black eye, usually you have swelling in the surrounding soft tissue. If he stomped her in the face, the orbital bone, I would think, would have at least some sort of swelling, and your nose is probably going to be broken.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I've never seen a black eye just black. I've seen purple, I've seen greens, I've seen yellows. I've seen, very, very dark blue, very, very, dense, very almost midnight blue, but
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
I used to watch fighting. Okay. And that is not what black eyes look like. Like, there's swelling involved, and like you're right, they're multicolored. They're not just black. That doesn't. I mean, and let's say Sarah's weird and has some condition where it's just black. Where's the swelling at? There's none.
She can still open her eye. It doesn't fly. It looks like it was darkened a little bit. I mean, I don't know how you use internet magic.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Avada Kedavra, but
I mean, she could have literally did that like Amber Heard with
Yeah.
a little Amica cream with a little tint in it.
She is such a dingleberry on the butt of humanity.
Yeah. This is what it is.
She tried a smoky eye, and she's about as good at as me at doing it. I look like a trash panda that got in a fight with a panda.
But you have to remember, Mo, she's drunk all the time. So that's what it looked like.
He's going to talk to you about what an awful, awful boyfriend George Torres was. And ladies and gentlemen, at the end of all of that, it still will not change the fact that the defendant is not entitled to the justifiable use of deadly force. Because as we continue to read this instruction, it tells us in deciding whether Sarah Boone was justified in using the use of deadly force, you must consider the circumstances at the time the force or the threat of force was used. Danger need not have been actual. However, to justify the use of deadly force, the appearance of imminent danger must have been so real that Sarah Boone actually believed that deadly force was necessary.
Survey says no one's buying this bullshit.
Yep. Exactly.
Again, he that was fully zipped. There was no hole. There was no hand that got out. And
Mhm.
I speculate with my tinfoil hat that she stayed on the couch until he passed.
Yep. That would be my
I think
guess
she-
as well.
I think she wanted to hear him have the last breath. I think she is that deranged, that sick. And I hope the judge sees that and says she is a danger to society.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would 100% believe that if that's what happened. Like, I would not doubt that at all, because like there's something else that was said by the defense, is that before or after, I think it was after that video that they just played, was
Yeah.
that after that he started threatening her. And it's like, well, hold on a second. We have how many other videos of her recording these situations that she's creating them?
Yeah.
But like, where's that one at? Because there is another video. So it's
Yeah.
like, but I don't believe it. Like, I just don't.
It makes no logical sense. So you put him in there, it was all fun and games.
Yeah.
You took the first video to teach him a lesson, let's just say hypothetically. He gets his hand out and you're terrified to death, so you whack him a couple times with a baseball bat. Then you go back, you're still so terrified. You are so terrified that he's going to get out that you go to film another 20-second video.
Yeah. Oh, and then you go to sleep.
Yeah, as we all do, just, passed out.
Yeah.
And then she
Like-
called her ex-husband like he's going to come in and fix stuff.
Yeah.
Can't fix death. He's not Jesus.
I mean, she did call him to fix the TV. And apparently gave him a little at the same time. Allegedly.
Another reason for me to stay skinny. Thank you. Too visual. Gonna be somewhere where there's a bunch of cookies, and I'm gonna be like, "Ugh." And they're like, "What are you thinking about?" And it was like, Sarah Boone, trying to stay skinny. Forget Ozempic, Sarah Boone.
Yeah. And there was the picture of the bruises on her arm. The other
Yeah.
thing about that is, so like, I remember Brian at some point in time had said that when she would get violent with him, that he would have to grab her arms and restrain her so she would not attack him. And so
Yeah.
she may have had bruises on her arms from George, but what's not to say that he was defending himself?
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, can we stop for 1 minute and talk about Brian Boone's MAGA-esque haircut? What the hell is that? I mean, I was like, are you an impersonator for, T-Rump here? Because I was like, that is what is going on with this, sir? And as a person who wears a lot of wigs, sir, if that is a, wig, I am totally for it. I just wouldn't have picked that style. I mean, but if it makes you feel better, you rock you.
Hold
Also,
on.
can you say bigly for me?
What was I can't remember what his name was. There was actually, Brian looks like somebody who was in Trump's cabinet. The dude with the glasses. He's not the Secretary of State.
The media secretary, what's his face?
No, I don't think it was
He was on
him.
Dancing with the Stars.
I don't remember what it was. Bill Barr, maybe? I think somebody just said Bill Barr.
I don't know, but that hair,
Yes.
I kept getting mesmerized by it because it was dense, thick, and and full Trump. And I was just like, did you have him style the hairpiece, sir?
Yes. It apparently he was the attorney general. That's who it was. He looks just like him.
Oh my, I'll have to look that up because I was just like, sir, what in the hair piece is going on there?
Yeah. But we could do a whole like day on old Brian.
Yeah, I do feel bad for Brian. I don't think, again, these relationships don't start out full on shit show. It's small little things that you get used to, your partner saying, "Hey, your mom's mean to me, don't talk to her," or, "I don't like those friends. I think they're giving you bad influence and leading you down a wrong path." Then it goes to, "You're not going out. You're not doing this." It doesn't start, at 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It starts, with little things, and you just kind of say, okay, well, I'm in a new relationship and I need to be respectful of their wishes.
Yeah.
And they prey on that sort of thing. I hope he again, Brian, Guam is an option. Have you tried Puerto Rico?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. I do not know what Brian does. I haven't really looked him up because I feel like he was thrust into this kind of against his will, and if he wants to talk, he can. I think
Yeah.
Dreading did a whole thing on Brian Boone. He's another YouTube channel.
Did he do one on Brian? I mean,
Maybe just kind of the psychological breakdown and
Oh,
that
okay.
men can be victims.
got it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he said that he works from home. A lot of tech stuff is home, so that would be my guess. But
Yeah, I hope Sarah gets no alimony. Like none. I would send her, if I were Brian, but I am full on petty, I would just send her little photographs of like me drinking Dr. Pepper, bunches of places, smoking a cig, even if I didn't smoke. I would be beyond uber petty. Like
yeah,
every week, just send her a card of me drinking a Dr. Pepper somewhere fun. Like, glad you're not here. Enjoy the clink.
or never mind. I was gonna make a terrible joke. I feel like out here playing hide and seek, Sarah.
I believe Brian initiated the divorce because Sarah cheated a lot. George was not her first affair. It wasn't, even her second affair. She started bringing a bunch of drunk people home at the end of the night, so the bar would close and she would bring people home, kind of oblivious to the fact that her son was sleeping and really defenseless, and she's bringing a bunch of drunken, men and women into the house, and Brian could not handle it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's. I don't know how he put up with that for any amount of time. I've been like, look,
Yeah.
there's the curb.
I know.
Peace.
And thank you for being a member for 4 months. It seems longer ago that thank you.
Moreover, to justify the use of deadly force, and this is important, a reasonably cautious and prudent person under the same circumstances would have believed the use of deadly force was necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, no reasonably prudent and cautious person would believe that a man who could barely fit into this box, who was incapable of movement, who was begging for his life, who was slowly asphyxiating, suffocating with each breath, would have needed to use deadly force against him. The justifiable use
Only
of deadly
Sarah.
force utterly fails, utterly crashes like a house of cards.
Oh, the
But there's
petty is
more.
back. But there's more.
But wait,
With the
there's
Sarah
more.
Boone suitcase, you can set it and forget it. Get a rack of ribs and a second-degree murder charge.
This segment brought to you by Ronco.
Yes, Ron Popeil. Set it and forget it.
And then you get the shout out to Billy Mays. But wait, there's more.
There's more. You not only get a ShamWow and OxyClean, but you get a little bit of Colombian nose powder.
We call it sugar. Wink.
However, the use of deadly force is not justified if you find that Sarah Boone used force to initially provoke threatened use of force against herself. Let's stop there before we consider the next two paragraphs. Some of the most critical testimony in this trial
Ugh.
is her testimony on the stand. It was a great
Preach.
day. We were doing puzzles and artwork, dancing with the dogs, listening to music. Tag, you're it, hide and go seek time. George gets into the suitcase. She comes and zips him up. They were still laughing about it. We're still laughing after he's zipped up in the suitcase. And then that's when George.
So I am really confused. I don't understand quite what she did for employment ever. So I don't know if it was because she was considered a stay-at-home mom when they divorced or were getting separated. I don't know what initiated the alimony.
So, after a certain amount of time of years that you have been married to somebody, it's kind of forced, basically, because that's just the way that it is. So that's probably where it came from. If she was a stay-at-home mom or had little to no employment, he would have been forced basically to pay her. And that's not including child support, by the way.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
That's just quote unquote spousal support. It's like, bitch, she ain't my spouse no more. Why am I supporting? But that's a whole other that's a whole other thing.
Pretty much.
But yeah, like, and if I remember regarding the spouse or the child support, that when she got arrested, I know he stopped paying child support
Yes.
because he came, but I think legally he technically didn't get that approved. But I think he did ended up getting it because she was incarcerated, so he was full-time custody. So why is he paying? Why would he be paying child support? So now I think he does have to get rid of the alimony part because she's locked up.
Well, I think the case is pending
Yeah.
on the adjudication of this case. I think that he will no longer have to pay her anything. And she is going to lose it because who's going to pay for her hot meals?
This I could go on a rant about, but I will not.
She is just a gross, disgusting human being. And how are you tired? Like, I was exhausted. What did you do all day? Well, we did some tidying and we did a puzzle and we did painting and we threw darts. How are you tired?
Yeah. It's, I mean, yeah, things like it's weird. Like there's things that are like mentally taxing can make you very tired.
Yeah.
Like yesterday I was exhausted, but I had been spending time going over like technical white papers and stuff like that. But I didn't do anything physically, but I was like just exhausted because I was drained of having to think over very difficult things. So yeah, but like you're like finger painting or whatever. It's like I'm not sure how that is, and you're drunk.
Yeah. Also, just like the Daryl Brooks case, we didn't get shocked and we didn't get to see what horrific art they did.
Yeah, I mean we saw the heart that was on the wall in one of the pictures. We did
Oh,
see
dear
that.
Lord.
Yeah, there was a heart that was painted on one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
walls, but it's like okay, I've seen children do that. Like I thought that when they kept talking about like, because she talks about how good of an artist that she is, and she's been doing it since she was little. Like I was expecting like, you know, talent. Like here you go, Jodi Arias, terrible human being, but she's actually a really good artist.
Yeah, and she hasn't aged. Like, Heifer, you eviscerated a man. Could you at least get some damn wrinkles?
Yeah,
It's
it's
just not fair.
yeah, it's just weird.
Not fair. It's just not fair.
Yeah, it's unintentional.
Had the temerity to ask, George Torres had the temerity to ask to be unzipped from the suitcase.
The noive.
And that's when Sarah Boone decided he needed to suffer. She was the initial aggressor, ladies and gentlemen. She provoked the use of force in this case. In her
In an
own
alternate
words,
universe, I'm sure
we were
she is.
laughing and playing right before he wanted to be let out because he couldn't breathe.
In a world with no alcohol.
Paragraph 1. The threat of force asserted toward the defendant was so great that she reasonably believed that she was in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm and had exhausted every reasonable means to escape the danger other than using deadly force on George Torres.
Like the door.
He couldn't exert anything, ladies and gentlemen. George Torres couldn't even exert his arm out of the suitcase. How on earth could he have exerted a force so great to justify his... Judge, I object.
Approach.
This looks terrible for my client. She looks like a real asshole. Could we stop with the whole truth thing for now?
Second paragraph. In good faith, Sarah Boone withdrew from physical contact with George Torres and clearly indicated to George Torres that she wanted to withdraw and stop the use of deadly force.
Mo.
How do you clearly indicate to someone in a suitcase that you no longer want to abuse them?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about this whole Sarah Boone as a school teacher.
Oh God.
Okay. I know you. I'm pretty sure it's you and me like this movie.
Okay.
The creepy kindergarten teacher from Billy Madison.
Billy Madison, where she's just covering herself with this is Mrs. Lippy's quiet time.
Yeah. That's how I imagine Sarah Boone as Mrs. Lippy.
Oh my God.
Spreading like glue all over her face.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. It's the problem is she squandered everything in her life. She had a good husband. Yeah, every marriage has ups and downs. You have a hard time communicating because God decided to put men who, box everything up with women who have feelings they don't even fucking understand. Like, how can it be happy, glad, annoyed, and possibly a little hungry? I feel sorry for you men because Mr. Mo's like, what are you upset about? And I'm like, I don't even really know, but you're just annoying right now and you breathe really loud.
Yeah, that's like, just tell me you need a minute and I'll go away. It's all good. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need to
or
explain it to me. Just tell me you need a minute.
yeah, or you ask your male significant partner and you're like, what are you thinking? And I have learned this, ma'am, ladies, women, come over here to Mama Mo. They are thinking, A, why doesn't glue get stuck in the jar when it's all glue? B, the Roman Empire, or C, nothing at all.
The answer
They
is
do not
usually
have,
C.
yeah, they don't think of 90 other different things. They don't have a weird like ADHD gremlin in their brain saying, hey, have you remembered about this? Also, do you remember conjunction junction? Because I really want to play that again. They don't
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah. And since we're giving out advice, and fellas, if you don't want to know what she's thinking, don't ask. And if you do, you can't get mad about it.
You are in for the duration
You
because our
asked.
stories do not go from A to B. It'll be like, so I was going to the store and I met Helen, and Helen, she is such a bitch. But I smiled at her because, it is Walmart and it is the Christian thing to do. But I wanted her buggy to just lose a wheel and her pants to split. She is just such a, pill. And anyway, so I went there and I got some, asparagus, because I know you like asparagus. It was on sale, but it smells horrible. And I just want you to know I love you because I picked asparagus. And Mr. Mo's like, so you went to Walmart and you got some stuff. I was like, yeah, but there's more. I was like, then this really creepy guy came up, but I was trying to be nice because, I'm trying to be good Christian, sometimes sort of. Still more of the table flipping Jesus, to be honest with you. So yeah, Mr. Mo is just like, you are in for the duration. If you ask me a story, you are in for the freaking duration.
Yes. It's like, you asked for it, though.
And it will never be on a linear thought. It's always like, and oh my gosh, do you remember this really cool thing that doesn't really go with this, but definitely I want to tell you about it right now because I have like current fact Tourette's, No, we can't.
Yeah, no.
But George Torres continued or resumed threatened use of deadly force. Ladies and gentlemen, George Torres never got a chance to do anything. George Torres never was able to mount any aggression towards the defendant. Therefore, this paragraph is inapplicable. And the law tells us as well
He's
that
doing the Italian
physical
hand.
contact in this case includes any restraint on George Torres's movements. The law also tells us, again, you find that Sarah Boone, because of prior threats or difficulties with George Torres, had reasonable grounds to believe that she was in danger of great bodily harm, of death or great bodily harm at the hands of George Torres. You may consider this fact in determining whether the actions of Sarah Boone were reasonable. Now, we're going to get to battered spouse syndrome in a moment. But again, I submit to you, this will be the opportunity for the defense to air grievances in regards to George Torres. But again, those grievances will not change the law, and they will not change the fact that the justifiable use of deadly force fails.
It never fails. So you guys know I have 6 children and a husband and 5 cats. And they will not sell me. I am looking for it. But if anyone knows how to hook me up, now I don't want the full Resident Evil, lasers cutting people in half. But a mild shock I'd be okay with for my door. So, when I'm streaming, people don't come into my door. Or so if we could get that set up in my hallway, that would be great. Because Mr. Mo comes in, he's like, use my real name, and he's like, I broke my belt. Do you want to come to Walmart? And I'm like, you guys know I am on a stream. I asked the guy at Lowe's, I was like, do you have biometric locks? And he said yes. Well, he said we have like thumbprint locks, but they were 200 effing bucks. And Mr. Mo said no. He just got me a lock on my door, but no one pays attention.
Yeah.
I was like, I baked you an apple pie. I have beef tips slow roasting in the oven. I am trying to be a good human. Could you please leave me alone? No, I'm not going to Walmart. This whole 2 weeks has been a lot. So, and it's weird because I'm extroverted on here, but if you're an extroverted introvert, which is an oxymoron of incredible proportions, you just need like some downtime to, decompress.
Yeah.
Come on, start calling her a miserable thunder cow. I need this in my life. You're taking a lot of time on these paragraphs and not as much time on being spastastic.
As a defense for the defendant. If you find that at the time of the alleged second-degree murder, manslaughter, culpable negligence, Sarah Boone knew that George Torres had committed an act or acts of violence,
Ooh.
you may consider that fact in determining whether Sarah Boone reasonably believed it was necessary for her to use deadly force. Considering the issue of deadly force, you may take into account the relative physical abilities and capacities of
Yes.
Sarah Boone and George Torres.
She got off on it. I think she's a sadist or sadistic.
To the battered,
And to people with narcissistic personality traits, I know that she doesn't have, full-on, full-blown narcissism according to the smart people. But people with narcissistic personality traits are vindictive when they think they've been crossed. You are never in more danger than if you slight a person with narcissistic tendencies. Because even not answering a text message quickly enough is a personal slight and must be met like with full guns blazing, full aggression.
Yes. As we have seen with What You Talking About, Kurt, and and Amber Heard, and I think the only one that doesn't, and I don't know if they have the personality traits, but is Chandler Halderson. He's the only one who doesn't seem to be that way. But
Chandler Halderson has the personality of beige paint drying.
You're not wrong.
That interview nearly killed me. Do you know how hard it is to have ADHD and try to break down that video on Legal Shenanigans Theater? I was like, there is nothing to make fun of. This man is completely boring. And I hate this. I hate it so much because he's like, first I ate toast and then I talked to my dad and then we used the green egg, but we were talking about Jeopardy. And if I were the detective, I would have given him 10 minutes and be like, Chandler, we found the leg.
Yeah. It's like,
I could not do it.
Yeah. I mean, I wish more cops would just be like just stop. Like Detective, oh God, what's her name?
Dirty Harriet.
Dirty Harriet, there you go. I wish more would be like her, but I also understand that they're doing stuff because of all the trial stuff nowadays where they have to impeach them potentially and they have to get them to lie so they can basically impeach them without them testifying or whatever with facts and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I get it, but yeah, I wish
Yeah.
more would just interrupt.
I know. I would be like, okay, here's the deal. Look, we got you on camera. You made a snuff film. You want to explain that to me?
Yeah.
This is why reason number 11-12 million, Mo is neither a cop nor a judge.
Special instruction on battered spouse.
A, they weren't married.
You have heard evidence that Sarah Boone suffers from battered spouse syndrome.
I know that.
If you
Wait.
find Sarah Boone suffered from battered spouse syndrome credible, you may consider this evidence to
Ooh,
assist you
don't tempt
in
me.
determining whether, in Sarah Boone's circumstances, would reasonably believe that
I would
such
say yes,
force was
but
necessary to
look, as a handful of a wife that is semi crazy and at least self-aware enough to understand it and know it, Mr. Mo would have to hook that up, and he does a lot around the house. He's currently, taking down the vertical shiplap or, paneling, whatever you want to call it, because my house is state of the art 1971. We have paneling. Anyone need paneling in a deep blue teal color? Because my room is full of it. I'm going to get drywall someday.
The teal is after, right?
Yeah, no, it used to be just paneling, and then when they
Okay.
sold us the house, they had they painted over the paneling.
Got it. Okay, that
It
makes
is
sense.
it is a glorious teal. I love teal, but paneling, God help me.
Yes.
I think I think they believe that the paneling would be all that would be required instead of insulation. I'm not really sure what went on in the 70s, but there was LSD involved in the creation of our house. We, honest to God, in our entryway, there was a wall covered in what I call that like aquarium gravel,
Aquarium gravel.
like little pea rocks, little
Yeah.
pea
The
gravel, just
wall?
on the wall. Yeah. I cannot tell you what was going on, but I hope Quaaludes were involved.
Huh. I
Jung, this isn't real wood. This is 1970s pressed confabulation paneling.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that like thin stuff. They have ridges every like 4 to 6 inches depending on what style you got. Uh
Yeah,
yeah.
so we finally kind of mudded and made a textured wall out of that, but I was like, who the hell put gravel? And then youngest most feral, just to creep me out because I'm now alone at home. It did have a state of the art 1971 audio system, so everyone had a little, oh God, what are those things?
Like the intercom?
Intercoms, yes, every room had an intercom. And a radio in the kitchen, that connected to the intercom, and he'll leave that on, and it'll just get snippets of voices, and I'm like, "Holy fuck, we are haunted." And then I realize he's left the damn radio on. I'm like, "Damn it all to hell, child."
I don't think I could live with an intercom.
Oh,
It would drive me crazy.
it doesn't work. It didn't. We did try it out because I was like, "Ooh, an intercom."
Yeah. It's like those ideas of like having like it'd be so cool to have like a laundry chute.
Oh, I want one, but I know my youngest child would try to use it as a slide.
Exactly. It's like there are problems with this.
defend herself against the imminent use of unlawful force by George Torres. Like other witnesses, You may believe or disbelieve all or any part of the testimony in regards to battered spouse. Ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from 3 experts in the areas of battered spouse in this case. And I think at the outset, it's important to note what battered spouse is and isn't and what the law instructs us here. Battered spouse is not some carte blanche. Battered spouse is not a license to kill.
I love
The
how he
fact
pointed at Sarah.
That George Torres at points mistreated Sarah Boone, did things that were worthy enough to get him arrested, to get restraining orders placed upon him, doesn't mean that she walks around with an ace in her pocket when it comes to George Torres. It doesn't mean that because he did these awful bad things, that now through the rest of time, she's a battered spouse and she just has the right to kill him or to make him suffer or to punish him or to make
Mr. Petty King right there, just looking her dead in her soulless, dumb eyes.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I love that he just told Sarah to her face, like, again, whatever happened, look at the judge too. The judge is in full fuck deficit. He's like, oh my God, I just want to go home.
Or he's like, can we just get this over with? I want to be done with this woman.
No, he knows Owens is going to go up next, and he's like, God, give me strength. He's like, he's coming to an end. He's bringing it to a landing. Oh God, no. And we probably will do a 2-parter on this. And then the second part, we will definitely get into the Star Wars, you know, the man brought out the Force. I was in love. If I weren't married and he weren't married, you seduced me with Star Wars and the good Star Wars. He's not like, and Ray Palpatine came out. Because I would have been, you're all guilty.
Like, let her go. Let her go.
Let her go. He likes Disney Star Wars. It's he is unqualified to be a DA.
Yeah. It's
So yeah, we're gonna go for about 30 more minutes, and then I do have like family stuff and feeding them. They do want dinner somehow.
make him feel uncomfortable or decide that he needs to be confined to a box. No. What the battered spouse syndrome instruction
I wish we could have
does,
seen Sarah's face.
it talks about the imminency of fear. And when we heard about that testimony, we heard about it from Dr. Harper, and we heard about it from Dr. Brandon for the defense. And some of the testimony was a little difficult to understand at points, but there was one point in Dr. Brandon's testimony that was very critical. Dr. Brandon talked about rule-outs. He talked about the fact that when emotion...
I will say it was really odd that the defense brought in an expert who had never even talked to Sarah.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, it's almost like they tried doing with where's the creepy dude from Depraved, the guy who made all the
Spiegel.
wacky faces? Yes,
I
Dr.
call him
Schmiegel.
Spiegel.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Schmiegel is like the same thing. It was like, wait, You've seen how terrible this is going to go.
Well, and the thing is, they already had penny problem glasses from HR that was going to completely, go with whatever Sarah said. So why have the other guy? It didn't. It smacked of, again, spaghetti on the wall,
Yeah.
not any sort of real strategy. I'm sure Sarah was there doing her Sarah-ness. Owens, I have only one thing to say, and I've said it before. You saw the circus, you saw the flying monkeys, you saw the thunder cunt, and then you said, not only do I want a ticket to this circus, but I'd like to be the fucking ringmaster. I don't feel bad for you. I think you're a terrible, terrible strategist. I think that you were ill-prepared. Your entire team looked like they had never been in a courtroom before, and you did a terrible job. You became the avatar of the worst traits of Sarah during your closing.
Yeah. And as my squirrel brain is going on here, so right in between the students on the judge's desk on the right, doesn't that look like the dude's visor from Star Trek The Next Generation?
Oh gosh, yeah, it was the guy from Reading Rainbow, but I can't remember what his name was on Star Wars. Or not Star. I'm more of a Star Wars girl than a Trek girl, not gonna lie.
I'm a neither, but I'm familiar with the references.
I have no idea. I honestly would not take that as truthful, but I don't want to out and out say she didn't have that, since I don't know. But it's Sarah Boone. Gordy, yes. LaForge, because we LaForged something on his face.
Yeah, that thing that's on the judge's desk.
He's a big old Trekkie.
And emotional reactions are involved, like trauma and trauma-based disorders. Other possibilities have to be ruled out before we can even ascribe
She claimed
those
to
actions
during her alimony
to battered
letters.
spouse syndrome. Other possibilities, according to Dr. Brandon, include alcohol abuse.
Sarah's like looking around. Who's abusing
Dr.
alcohol?
Harper should have listened to Dr. Brandon's testimony, because Dr. Brandon completely undercut Dr. Harper's testimony. Dr. Harper relied heavily on the words of the defendant.
Did we check Dr. Harper's alcohol level when she was with Sarah? Because, again, this is the part I don't get. So you know that your client is an unreliable narrator, but you take everything she says as gospel. And I get that Owens came in and the fact pattern in this case was terrible. I do believe that Sarah probably told him, I want a plea deal. And when she didn't get a plea deal that said, set you free right now, it pissed her off.
Yeah. Yeah.
She thought she would get away with time served. And I think Sarah has the incredible ability to shoot herself in both feet and, spite her nose for her face and then look around and wonder who the real, perpetrator is.
Yeah. And full disclosure, I have not actually seen all of the closings, but I thought up until what I did not see, which I think is when some people think that he went off the rails. I think that he was doing everything within his realm of possibility to attempt to defend her as what he could. Again, I have not seen the closing where apparently things get a little off the rails. But
I mean, he really tried, but his general demeanor, and I don't know if it was being around Sarah, I don't know if it was the stress, was snippy, disrespectful, accusatory of the state, trying to have a grand conspiracy against Sarah. Again, sir, your client made a snuff film.
Yeah. No, and he might have, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the rules are, but maybe he took that whole believe your client thing to heart and just thought that there was some grand conspiracy, which I find a little hard to believe. But, it's at some point in time, I guess we'll see what happens with the closing stuff.
I'm sure he'll appeal that the family got up because he is a soulless jerk, and Sarah probably got really upset about that. Like, they're trying to take sympathy away from me, the real victim here.
Yeah. It's like,
She
well,
is
you're still
such
breathing.
corroded trash water.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Who was abusing alcohol at the time of these events. And then you heard from the expert for the state, Tanya Warner. In her opinion, was much more straightforward. Remember, Dr. Brandon did not render an opinion as to whether or not she suffered from battered spouse. Dr. Warner said affirmatively, yes, I believe she did suffer from battered spouse syndrome. But she also applied what Dr. Brandon was talking about. Other possibilities have to be ruled out as the trigger for a behavior, for an event. So, in Dr. Warner's estimation, the fact that at the time of this incident, they were laughing, and joking, and carrying on, meant that the trigger was not domestic violence or some threat. In the defendant's own words, the trigger was him wanting to get out and her being reminded of the bad things that he had done to her. That's not imminence of fear. That's reminder of bad things a person has done. And again, even if you were to believe that she was
Okay,
battered spouse
front of the
triggered
congregation, if you believe Sarah
at the
Boone, we need to
time
have a come to
of
Jesus.
this event, it still does not save the day.
Come to Mo.
Because all the battered spouse trigger law tells us is that it goes to that imminency requirement. It doesn't say there's no imminency requirement. It doesn't say that, look, if you're suffering from battered spouse and you're triggered by battered spouse,
Absolutely.
then
That's going to
hey,
hurt
there's
her
no more
more than
imminency
anything.
requirement, do as you wish. It just gives the ladies and gentlemen of the jury another thing to consider.
He's making the okay
in
symbol. Someone on Reddit's going to
whether
cry.
or not that threat was imminent. And we know from the
I think that's a
evidence, we
gang
know
sign from what I've
from
learned in the
videos,
YSL trial.
Oh my
there was
gosh.
absolutely no threat.
It's part of the West Side. I knew it. Or UPS. I don't know who wears that much beige.
What can Brown do for you?
Yes, I wanted to do the closing. We will do the rebuttal. We will probably finish this up because I do have to feed my family. So we'll get 12 more minutes in, and then we will finish this up next week for Legal Shenanigans Theater. Probably I'll come up with some sort of Star Wars reference. The Phantom Suitcase Strikes Back. Attack of the, Samsonite. I'll figure it out.
The Samsonite Strikes Back.
And we know there was no threat because George Torres never got out of that box. Hughes never got out of that box until sometime on the early afternoon of February 24th.
Yes.
Mr. J, can you please publish from stage 21?
Checking the clock.
Ooh, mood lighting. Oh, he just likes vintage clothes.
That was a great movie.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to go to court and I'm going to tell the judge, listen, my fiance has nothing to do with it. It's all my fault. We were both drinking and got out of hand. It's an isolated situation. It has never happened before. I love my fiance.
This is so sad. It's a
She's a
hostage
good
situation.
woman.
Mm-hmm.
For being in trouble in her life, she has a 7-year-old son that she loves and cherishes.
A blind Boston Terrier.
She has 2 dogs.
Okay, who gave Sarah a dog? Who saw that face and thought, she'll be kind to animals or anyone?
Yeah. This is the video actually that I find the most disturbing.
Yeah, and it's her just adding things that no one gives two craps about. Yes, I love fur babies. I'm glad you found, a blind one and a deaf one. You just need one that doesn't see, and then you'll have see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Ooh, I like that one, pretend judge. Except she's not revenge. We need to get something about George because she's defeated. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just say use the force. Let the force guide you. Because that was basically the Darth joke. I don't know.
One is blind, one is deaf. She goes around and she's driving and sees an animal that's injured. She'll stop in the middle of the street, no matter what kind of traffic it is, just to make sure that animal doesn't
I'll take
get
things
injured
that never
anymore
happened
than
for
where it
600,
has.
Alex.
Yeah.
We both love each other. We both live together. Yes, every relationship has their arguments, but we are not the type of people that you guys are portraying us to be.
She
Especially her.
She
So
especially.
please, if you can,
dismissed.
dismiss this case.
Closed.
Drop it. She is not the type of person.
Good person.
She's a great person.
Angel.
I know she'd be an angel.
Fallen angel like Lucifer. Or a Balrog like if you're going Lord of the Rings. Morgoth. Angel and her. I'm surprised lightning just didn't strike down. It's a good thing she went barefooted because maybe, she wouldn't be as grounded. No, I don't think he did anything that she said. The more she talks, I think he defended himself at times. I do think that he got, he gave as good as he got, but I think for the most part, he didn't do anything. Again, when he was berating her, if he was really a monster, and people who have been in these type of relationships, she wouldn't be filming him if he really was a monster. And I go back to, if he really was a monster, she would not go to sleep before him.
Yeah.
You put yourself in a vulnerable position like that only once, and then you learn not to go to sleep before they crash out.
And you sure as hell wouldn't be antagonizing them.
No. She didn't walk around on eggshells. She was a freaking harden and harpy who continually pecked at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll finish up this video and then do the next.
Best thing that has ever happened to you.
Yes, ma'am. And I love you to death. And I hate that we're going through this right now.
Sonnet
What?
in the good.
Good, I love you. Whatever you want me to say. God will prevail and He will take us out of this situation. Love you.
All right. So, guys, we have about 15 more minutes that I'm sure will take us about an hour. And then we have 30 minutes of the Star Wars closing that we will try to, zip through. But I really liked the state's closing. I really liked how they took the wind out of, Sarah and Owens's, sails and really made it about George. And sometimes I think in all the Sarah Boone-ness, we forget about George. And after those videos, I don't think any of us will forget about him.
No.
And on a serious note, if you see any of yourself in this relationship that we've watched the last 2 weeks, male, female, zim, zer, it's 2024. I don't flippin' know. You don't have to stay.
Yep.
If this is what you're going home to, that isn't home, that's a prison.
Yep.
And as speaking for someone who took those steps, I'm not going to lie to you. It's incredibly scary.
Yep.
But you can take them and you can get out. And there are always places and people that are there to help you. And I wish we had more people and places for male victims. And hopefully with this case, if it did anything, it really opened people's eyes to the fact that men can be victims too.
Yep. Because you don't want to find yourself in a position to sitting on a porch like George did to say, I love you to death.
Yeah. So, just, think about it. You are not broken. You are not, the little person that, they've stripped you down to be. You can become yourself again. And will you carry some scars? Unfortunately, yes, you will. You may never like loud noises. You may never want to go to a bar with a bunch of drunk people around, but your life will open up. It really will. And there's a big world out there, and you deserve a place in it, and not a place where you're constantly beat down or verbally, talked down to. Make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves, and go watch a puppy video. This week has been fucking sucky. I mean, we got to see a grown man tortured and demeaned. So go watch some kitten videos. I'm not redirecting you to anyone, but, just take some time for your mental health. This was a tough case.
Yeah.
And, be sure to guard that and, just have a good weekend. I probably won't be putting anything up on Sunday. Sundays are my decompress day. I will attempt to make a Discord channel. So, probably expect on Monday that I've blown up my computer. And, just as a person that's been there, your family will welcome you back. Any people that you've been isolated from, don't feel ashamed. Don't feel stupid. It happens to a lot of people. But you can fly again. So on that note, I am letting you all go. I've got to go make sure that the beef tips are actually cooked through. And my son's already like, is the apple pie ready to eat? And I'm like, I guess if you want it. I was going to have someone run to get ice cream, but sure. So have a great day. Have a good, weekend. And I will see you in the morning on Monday for Mornings with Mo, a mix of current headlines, true crime, and the absurdity that I can find on the internet, which it's 2024, year of our Lord Clown. So it's not that difficult.
Not wrong.
Have a great day, guys. I will see you later.
See ya.